Europe is entering the era of hyperconnectivity due to the widespread adoption of artificial intelligence. According to reports from Nokia, Ericsson and GSMA, Telecom's network traffic annual growth is expected to increase between 17% and 27% up to 2030. Meanwhile, Europe continues to trail other areas of the world. At the end of 2024, 5G standalone coverage, the most advanced form of 5G, reached 95% in South Korea, compared to over 90% in Japan and almost 80% in China. The USA is around 50%, while Europe is well below 30%. Artificial intelligence, connected mobility, 5G and 6G networks, emergency networks, and many other technologies that will transform our lives can only exist if Europe invests in a robust and resilient infrastructure. How is the telecom sector preparing for this future?
Compared to the US or Asia, Europe has underinvested in mobile networks for over a decade. People think that mobile data growth is slowing down. It's pure appearance. The truth is that data consumption and 5G use cases are outpacing the deployment of infrastructure, resulting in an ever-widening increase in capacity gap. Two drivers will continue boosting mobile data usage in the next few years. First, the 5G handset penetration. In Europe, it is still low, much lower than what people believe. Only around 40% of the mobile phones are actually 5G enabled, while at the end of this decade, the GSMA expects that it will reach 90%, a big pressure for the networks. The second is artificial intelligence. It is completely changing the quantity of transmitted data and the patterns of traffic usage. Lower latency, a huge increase in uploading will be requested by millions of new devices. None of the current network is ready for this. There is a rise in demand, but insufficient network density. Europe needs 100 billion investment by 2030. In this context, telecom operators are consolidating to build bigger companies able to face the investment challenge. And Cellnex will allow a more efficient and sustainable deployment of network infrastructure to close the gap with other continents.
What has been, in your view, the economic contribution of the infrastructure companies to the European wireless industry?
In the last 10 years, mobile operators in Europe outsourced a large number of their tower portfolio to specialized infrastructure companies, from 13% to 69%. This process released only in the period between 2019 and 2024, 53 billion euro of capital that the operators reinvested in their networks to improve the coverage and accelerate the 5G rollout. Additionally, European infrastructure companies supported the operator by building new towers, adding thousands of them, and financing an equivalent number of new 5G antennas without impacting the free cash flow of the mobile operators. In a nutshell, telecom infrastructure companies have been vital for making the 5G investment in Europe, and in the last part of the decade, they will represent a cornerstone for the further 5G network expansion, modernization, and densification.
Mobile operators' consolidation seems to be the factor that will make possible the recovery of the European mobile sector in terms of infrastructure modernization. Is it a threat or an opportunity for the European infrastructure companies?
The operator consolidation process is a net positive for our industry, since it will create stronger operators investing again on their networks and moving the competition from price to quality. When consolidation between operators happens, the infrastructure company must accompany this process, working together with their clients. Every country and every contract is different, but broadly speaking, we are asked to make two changes. First, we have to facilitate the efficiency improvement of merged networks by removing unnecessary overlaps. The second is to support operators in expanding their networks, increase density and capacity in the most populated areas, and adopt the most advanced technology like the 5G standalone. In some countries, competition authorities may approve the mobile operators' consolidation, subject to remedies to preserve competition and investment incentives. Once again, our sector will have a crucial role in supporting the modernization of Europe's digital infrastructures.
Are the contracts between infrastructure companies and mobile operators flexible enough to allow their consolidation to happen smoothly?
The majority of our contracts are regulated under the so-called Master Service Agreement, which are based on two major principles. Long-term contracts, whose duration is up to 10, 15, even 20 years, and the all-or-nothing clause at the renewal date, which ensures that Cellnex will continue to operate on the entire service perimeter. This was the core of the agreement since the very beginning of the outsourcing. The predictability and the stability of the revenues gave a very high value to the tower portfolio in the moment of the sale to the infrastructure player. Cellnex contracts, therefore, include consent rights that don't allow any unilateral change. This means that any modification or assignment proposed by a client should be necessarily approved by Cellnex for being executed. This guarantees Cellnex, and it implies that we should have an active role in any consolidation discussion, and it protects us from unfavorable consolidation scenarios. Let's be clear. Our goal is not to block market redesign and network rationalization. On the contrary, we are absolutely in favor of making possible a new pro-investment environment. We have successfully completed two significant negotiations in Spain and UK to adapt contract agreements following the merging processes. What made it possible was a clear agreement in which Cellnex protected the net present value of its contracts and participated to the extra growth coming from the consolidation.
In Spain, MásMóvil and Orange merge in 2024. What was the key in this negotiation?
The key was that we were able to accommodate in the new agreement both the requests of our clients and our needs. On one hand, they needed to rationalize their network. That means the reduction of around 2,500 antennas hosted on our infrastructure, what we call points of presence on our sites. On the other hand, they needed to enhance that network quality to serve the ever-growing data traffic demand. For this reason, we compensated the permitted reduction, including in the agreement, new hosting services of additional antennas on sites previously not available to MásOrange. Also adding new services such as small cells or indoor connectivity solutions. This reinforces our role of long-term partner for digital infrastructures. In other words, we reached a win-win and future-proof agreement by granting the rationalization and the optimization of the combined two networks in exchange of additional services. Results at the end of 2025 have been better than our original plans. As we said, a win-win result. The last important part of the agreement has been the extension of our Master Services Agreement until 2048. We have also included an all-or-nothing termination option in 2038. The partnership between Cellnex and MásOrange, therefore, is established for 2 decades, and the impact in the first years is clearly balanced by the future growth granted under the new contract.
According to an Oliver Wyman 2025 analysis, the average EU telecom operator serves just 5 million subscribers, in contrast to 107 million in the US and 467 million in China. This fragmentation limits European operators' ability to achieve economies of scale and reinvest in high-growth areas, highlighting the need for further consolidation and cross-border expansion to remain competitive. In 2025, the Vodafone and Three merger in the UK has been a relevant step towards future investments on the sector. Why?
The United Kingdom's recent approach to merger assessments had created a favorable environment for Cellnex. This has enabled the company to capitalize on new opportunities and support the modernization of Europe's digital infrastructure. These include urban densification and indoor connectivity. It's clear that current networks are not fit for the future. The government of all the countries in which we operate recognize that ensuring network quality will be essential. In the case of the recent merger, the Competition Authority requested to the merging entities a commitment for a material improvement in their network quality. Vodafone 3 will end up with a much larger and dense network with around a 30% increase in points of presence available to consumers compared to the current configuration, becoming the clear market leader. We assume that the competition in the UK will become quality-driven and all the mobile operators will be de facto forced to move in the same direction, improving the footprint of their network. This is obviously very positive for infrastructure companies like us.
According to a recent GSMA report, over 500 spectrum licenses are set to expire in Europe within the next decade. The report highlights that reforming renewal policies could save operators up to 30 billion euros, enabling the faster deployment of 5G standalone networks and helping to close the investment gap. This will pave the way for 6G. This would undoubtedly encourage investment in high-quality networks across Europe. Is spectrum assignment and renewal an important factor for the infrastructure sector?
The conditions for the merger approval in the UK included the redistribution of 60 MHz of spectrum, enabling the other competitor, Virgin Media 2, to invest in network upgrades across the UK, and adding several new sites provided by Cellnex. The result of an MNO consolidation is therefore a generalized improvement in the services provided to the clients in the country. For Cellnex, this represented the opportunity to mutually agree with two large clients upon redesigning our contractual relationship. Both Vodafone 3 and Virgin Media 2 are now Cellnex long-term partners, with a contract lasting until 2038 based on anchor-like conditions, totally aligned with all the other master service agreements.
How are changes in European spectrum regulation benefiting telecom infrastructure companies?
In the last 30 years, most of the European countries use the spectrum allowance as a form of cashing money from the players of a free cash flow-rich industry. At the same time, the same regulators pushed for a very strong competition to reduce customers' prices. The net effect is very evident. The mobile telecommunication industry in Europe is in crisis. Some regulators in the last years are starting to change their approach. Not big cash outs in exchange of the spectrum, but investment obligation in order to improve the infrastructure, and at this point, Cellnex is a key and reliable stakeholder within the telecom ecosystem. Approximately 500 spectrum licenses have to be renewed in the coming years. That's why we're convinced that the new trade-off will be an inexpensive renewal for quantity-driven investment obligations. Once again, a secular trend in favor of the infrastructure companies.
Which role will Cellnex play in the future?
Cellnex is uniquely positioned to play a key role in the future, leveraging its extensive infrastructure portfolio and long-term agreements with operators. We will support new site deployments, facilitate 5G upgrades and beyond, and ensure operational resilience in a scenario in which there will be strong drivers coming from the 5G densification or the massive adoption of artificial intelligence solutions. We are a company with a long history of investment. We have invested more than 45 billion euro in Europe this decade. We are in regular contact with governments and with operators. Governments want to invest in high-quality networks. Operators aspire to become stronger and have greater investment capacity. In summary, we expect to see increased investment in networks which will benefit our business. Colocation can be delayed but not cancelled. The current situation is cyclical, not structural. Consider traffic on a road. If capacity is not increased, congestion becomes a problem. It's the same with networks. Cellnex is a key player in this scenario. and we will seize the opportunities that lie ahead.